else weirded out by the fact that PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 is now considered retro? Yeah, me too. When I was in college, I desperately wanted a backwards compatible PlayStation 3, but since I was a broke college student, I couldn't afford one. So I did the only thing that I could do: enter a Bank of America sponsored Guitar Hero competition on campus. Surprisingly enough, I took first place, winning my PS3 and becoming a god of gaming at Cal State University Fullerton. I was one of the only people in my group of friends that had a PlayStation 3 and a TV to match. Because of this, I love the PS3. People nowadays may look back on Sony's big black machine with disdain, but I think they just didn't understand it. The PS3 was a powerhouse of a system and arguably the best Blu-ray player on the market. It didn't just have games, it had some of the best console exclusives of its generation. And to go along with that, I'm going to share my top 10 favorite PlayStation 3 exclusives of all time. I do want to add 2 quick notes. First up, I'm going to say PlayStation 3 exclusives a little loosely, because the majority of the games on this list did in fact get ported to the PlayStation 4. Some of the games on this list died on the PS3. So when I say PS3 exclusive, you're probably going to get upset and go, hey, that game's not an exclusive anymore. At one point, it was exclusive to the PS3, and thus I originally played and owned it on the PS3. Second, I'm going to be picking some that have sequels and prequels amongst these franchises that I talk about. So I guess you can safely assume that if a game franchise makes it on this list with a second or a third or fourth game in the franchise, if it makes you feel better, you can imagine that, yeah, I'm putting the whole franchise at the top of the list there. And as always, remember, this is just my list. I'm just some dude online with opinions. You're allowed to have yours, and I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. With that said, enjoy some of the greatest PS3 games of all time. Today's video sponsor is our longtime partner, Helix Sleep. And just like they're dedicated to supporting us here on The Completionist, Helix Sleep is dedicated to providing premium products that are customized to your unique sleep needs. Use their Helix Sleep quiz today to best assess and offer you optimal sleep solutions. Whether you sleep on your side, back, or stomach, and regardless of how springy or firm you like your mattress, Helix Sleep is looking to find you that perfect mattress. Helix Sleep will ship your rolled up and easy to set up mattress for free anywhere in the US. They also offer a 10-year warranty, flexible payment plans, and financing options, as well as a 100-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure that you love it. Now, I've had my Helix Sleep mattress for over 2 years now. Our general manager Fraser has had his for almost a year, and our lead writer Cameron is always talking about how he needs a new mattress, so maybe he'll be joining our sleep cult soon. I mean, enjoying a great night's rest with Helix Sleep. I love my Helix Sleep mattress, and I think you will too. If you're looking for a new bed, check out Helix and click the link in the box down below at helixsleep.com/thecompletionist. Doing so will get you 20% off your Helix mattress plus 2 free pillows. So once again, if you're looking to get that great brand new mattress, go to helixsleep.com/thecompletionist today. Thanks to them for sponsoring the show, and let's move on.
Number 10.
Journey is one of the few games I would describe as breathtaking. The landscape is gorgeous, with vast deserts and empty cities built inside a mountain. The Grammy-nominated score is hauntingly beautiful. The story is minimal, yet compelling. When it comes to the gameplay, Journey is stripped down in terms of design as you take control of a robed figure and their journey to the light at the top of a mountain. Things are particularly interesting with the multiplayer. If connected to the internet when playing, there's a good chance you'll randomly run into another player going through their own journey. You can only send simple chimes to communicate, but that's shockingly enough, as you can show each other paths and even charge each other's scarves. If you finish a section with that person, they continue with you. If not, it's not meant to be, and you'll either continue alone or with someone else. When you reach the end, you'll see all of those who joined you on your journey, which is a very nice touch. Journey is a perfect Zen experience to be enjoyed in a handful of hours. It's a masterful showcase of artistry, design, and technical skills, shining very brightly on the PS3.
Number 9.
Many may know Sucker Punch Productions for their modern console contributions like Sly Cooper and Ghost of Tsushima, but their contribution to the PS3 made a lasting impression with me and Infamous. Infamous is an open-world action-adventure game where you play as a delivery man who is caught in a gigantic explosion. This grants him superpowers that he can then use to execute missions and traverse Empire City. As you get through the story, you'll gain more abilities and even get stronger, which is really satisfying. Also, all of the cutscenes are in a really cool comic book style, which is a fun choice. The real selling point of Infamous is the morality system. Throughout the game, you'll have choices that will either make you a beloved hero or just a flat-out dick. It has the same pitfalls as most video games built around morality. You're either the angel or the worst person imaginable, but it is still very fun to experience both sides of the story. Infamous would be much higher on this list if it wasn't for such a truly sucky completion process. And believe it or not, as the completionist, that's a really important thing to me. But if you go ignoring that, you'll be in store for a great superhero-like adventure unlike any other game on the PS3.
Number 8.
Before Mario Maker, before even Minecraft, there was no better game for community-driven content than Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet is a physics-based platformer that took place in a world that was essentially crafted together. As Sackboy, the game's mascot character, you run across levels and jump and grab onto things to solve any problems along your way. But what made this game so special was the bevy of creative tools the game gave you. Now look, I was probably one of the few people out there that really enjoyed the main story. The main story was fun, but the meat and potatoes of Little Big Planet was in its user-created content. People could build and create their own levels with actual story beats in them and share them with the whole world. This was mind-blowing in 2008, and customization wasn't just limited to building levels. You could give your Sackboy any combination of clothes you unlocked, and I went all in on those costumes. I was one of those dumb idiots that would buy all of the new costumes each time they'd update the game. I had all of the Kratoses and the Assassin's Creed outfits. I was stupid. I loved them, but I was stupid. Little Big Planet may seem trite now that a bunch of games have released with these same features and have definitely done it a lot better. But at the time, there was nothing like it on consoles.
Number 7.
When most people think about Ratchet & Clank, they're either talking about the original trilogy on the PlayStation 2, maybe the reboot on PS4, probably not, or the more recent Rift Apart. But surprisingly, a majority of the games from Insomniac's most prevalent franchise are on the PlayStation 3, and the first installment of the Future trilogy is clearly its best. Ratchet & Clank Future Tools of Destruction does what pretty much every Ratchet & Clank sequel does. Takes that solid shooter platformer foundation that's been around for 4 games now and just zhuzhes it up a little bit. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The graphics were better, the platforming and shooting were more precise, and the story became the biggest and most personal one yet. There was also the addition of awesome new weapons like the Groovatron that forces enemies to dance, and characters like a band of space pirates. That's right, Ratchet & Clank has pirates now, so obviously it's better. Ratchet & Clank Future Tools of Destruction showed that the PlayStation's most resilient duo was not going anywhere. The levels are bright and imaginative, the gameplay is fast-paced and fun, and our leads are just as lovable as ever. Tools of Destruction really made things feel like Ratchet & Clank, and the PS3 were the future of games.
Number 6.
Oh man, I can feel the internet getting real mad at me for this one. Here we go. Super Smash Bros. Popularized the platform fighter genre and took crossovers to the very next level. This obviously inspired a lot of imitators that were written off, including PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. And honestly, I love this game. Despite what haters say, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale was actually a ton of fun and did a lot to separate itself from its more beloved counterpart. The biggest change was with its point system. Instead of knocking opponents off of a stage, you would build up a power bar and defeat enemies with super moves. This made the game feel a lot more fast-paced than Smash. At the time. Another big highlight was the stages. They took the place in the world of one game and then invaded it by another. For example, Twisted Metal would be invaded by Jak and Daxter, or Parappa the Rapper with Killzone. It was a unique way to work in other PlayStation properties without making them characters. PlayStation All-Stars even had an advantage over Smash with the multiplayer, since Sony's online capabilities are much better than Nintendo's. I would play online duos with my friends over at the Warp Zone for hours on end. Unfortunately, this is one of those games that, when you think about it now, everyone really hates it and thinks it sucks. And there's a lot to really hate about this game. Truthfully speaking though, if this game was as big as I hoped it would have been, I imagine that lots of love in the form of patches, characters, and tournaments could have made this one of the more interesting franchises out there. Maybe we would have had a second or a third. At this point, probably not. It's a real shame that people didn't give PlayStation All-Stars a chance, especially since nowadays there are so many Smash clones out there like Multiverses or Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl that haven't gotten the same amount of vitriol, mostly because those games have learned just by looking at PlayStation All-Stars and Smash as a whole. We may never get another PlayStation All-Stars, but I will always have those special memories of me and my friends dominating duos online all those years ago.
Number 5.
While I am putting Uncharted 2 Among Thieves as the choice for the Uncharted trilogy, this entry is more of an overall Uncharted gets placed here. It's just that 2 happens to be my favorite. Naughty Dog's Uncharted was a grand departure from their previous cartoony franchises of Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter, but Uncharted also set the stage for their later, more mature titles, as well as the more immediate, much anticipated sequel. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves improved on every aspect from the previous game, with better visuals, more action-packed gameplay, and somehow making Drake more likable and handsome. You know those people who are nice, funny, and good-looking? Yeah, Drake is one of those jerks. Uncharted 2 features a lot of the same gameplay that made the first game great, with tons of areas to climb and explore, as well as plenty of firefights to survive and engage in. But it took things even further with the addition of multiplayer, something that, while I appreciate it, I'm glad that when I completed it, I did the PS4 version, so there was no multiplayer in the same vein. I don't know, I've always viewed Uncharted as a single-player adventure franchise, but people liked it online play, and I had my fair share with Uncharted 4. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves proved that Naughty Dog was heading in the right direction, not just in regards to the Uncharted series, but in their games as a whole. Their platformers may have cemented Naughty Dog as classic developers, but Uncharted 2 confirmed that they were just getting started and were becoming masters of their craft.
Number 4.
The first Metal Gear game originally released on the MSX2 way back in 1987. However, most people were first introduced to the series on the PlayStation with the classic Metal Gear Solid. I am not one of those people. No, my first interaction with Hideo Kojima's love child to 80s action was Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots. All right, look, I'm just gonna say it. When I got a PS3, I had to try Metal Gear Solid 4. I got about halfway through the game before I realized that I had no idea what the was going on, but the technology was incredibly impressive, and it made me want to go back and play Metal Gear Solid 1 for the first time. Yes, this made the story of the game confusing as hell for me, but that did not stop me from enjoying myself, because this game is ridiculous in only a way that Hideo Kojima can pull off. On top of that, Metal Gear Solid 4 is also a technical marvel with unbelievable graphics and music that is on par with some of the best movie scores out there. Metal Gear Solid 4 played just as well as it looked. By this time, the Metal Gear Solid formula had pretty much been perfected, so they really didn't need to do much. In order to emphasize stealth more, Snake was given a ton of new camo options based on the way an octopus camouflages itself, and that rules. On top of this, there is a tiny Metal Gear that you can interact with to talk to Otacon. I can't tell you how disappointed I was to learn that this particular thing, wasn't regularly in the series. Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots was the first game I played that really made me feel like I was in that next generation of consoles, with its fantastic presentation, epic story, and exceptional gameplay that made the game feel larger than life.
Number 3.
One genre that I don't get to talk about much here on the show are MOBAs. I used to play a ton of the original Dota on the original Warcraft 3 back in the day. Recently, I played a ton of Pokemon Unite, and at one point, I was so addicted to League of Legends that it almost ruined my career. But in 2009, there was one MOBA that particularly grabbed my attention. One could argue that it's not really a MOBA, but it's kind of the best way to describe it. My friends, I'm talking about the PlayStation 3 exclusive Fat Princess. Fat Princess is an adorably medieval game where the goal is to save the princess and bring her back to your army's side. The trick is that there's an opposing army trying to do the exact same thing. Whoever successfully gets the princess to their side wins. It's a very unique take on Capture the Flag that gets a lot deeper the more you spend time with it. Across the 7 modes, there are hat machines that will allow you to change between 9 classes, each with their own advantages. And on top of that, you can give the princess cake to make her heavier and harder to move. But the important thing is that Fat Princess supported 32 players as well as 4 people playing together on a single console. Honestly, this makes for one of the most unique multiplayer experiences on the PlayStation 3. Now, it may seem weird that I'm putting a game like this that barely anyone remembers this high on the list, but I gotta be honest, I love this game and would spend countless hours online with friends playing it as much as possible. Fat Princess was popular enough to appear in PlayStation All-Stars, but has never received a direct sequel, and I'll never understand why. Here's hoping that Sony greenlights a comeback soon, but chances are, probably not.
Number 2.
It turns out that the Uncharted series was only the beginning for Naughty Dog's journey into more cinematic games. However, their next game would be a bit different. Instead of focusing on big set pieces and spectacle like Uncharted, this game would focus more on relationships and characterization. By doing that, Naughty Dog has in fact made a very good game. Set in a post-apocalyptic dystopia, you are able to use improvised weapons to take down enemies, as well as use guns if you scrounge up enough ammo. You can strategize your approach towards different enemies as you play as both Joel and Ellie in The Last of Us. As you play, you will be both drawn in and repulsed by what the world and these characters have to become to survive. Moments are so remarkably varied that every situation feels memorable. From your first encounter with the bloater to the absolute gut punch of Left Behind, The Last of Us successfully challenges players in ways none of us were expecting. This is all enough for The Last of Us to be considered a masterpiece. But then Naughty Dog went above and beyond and added a multiplayer mode that was incredibly fun while still making you feel like you were trying to survive the apocalypse. The Last of Us has a well-deserved, ever-growing fan base that has now been supercharged by the HBO series that exceptionally pulls and expands upon the strengths of its source material.
Number 1.
As you can tell, the PS3 has had an amazing catalog of games, and you could defend any game on this list as one of the best games the system has to offer. But I do believe one game does stand above them all as the proper god of the PlayStation 3, a God of War to be precise. God of War 3 ends the original trilogy with an epic conclusion that most games wish they could have. Everything you love from the first 2 games is back and better than ever, with impressive visuals, a gorgeous score, and most importantly, more brutal combat. In fact, combat is expanded by giving you the ability to swap back and forth between all of your weapons without having to pause the game. Nothing will momentarily stop my bloodlust. But the thing that separates this game from every other God of War and game on this list is Kratos actually having some character development. You see, he's been tricked by the Titans to kill all of the gods of Olympus at this point in the franchise. This time, revenge isn't just about his family, but saving the world from the apocalypse. And on his journey, he even sacrifices himself to help all of mankind, especially those who are close to him. He does a great job of setting up the Kratos we would meet in 2018's God of War. Now, I'm sure you all know, I love everything God of War. I've completed almost every single game. I think I'm missing one. I helped create a mini-series parodying God of War called God of Work. I even got the bright red God of War PS3. It is without a doubt one of my favorite franchises of all time. And the funniest thing is that being the completionist made me love this franchise. I played God of War nearly 11 years ago for the first time. And God of War 3 for me is one of the best original games, if not the best game on the PS3. Thank you all so much for watching, and let me know what your favorite PS3 games in the comments were down below. Or hey, give me some other top 10 lists that you'd like for suggestions. I take them. I would like to hear which top 10s you'd like to see me do next. And as always, this video is brought to you in part by my Patreon supporters. You can join for free at patreon.com/thecompletionist or get some great extra perks while showing support for just $5 a month. Stay fly, all. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.